I'm on. Jill said I'm on. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, community. Welcome to all that are here in our sanctuary, and welcome to all of you that are out in live streaming land. So for those of you out in live streaming land, so last week, if you remember, we tried to do music. And then when I went home, I listened to it. It was terrible. So for you that were home, we hope that you didn't just turn it on and not at least wait for the message. The message wasn't terrible. The music was terrible. So we're working on figuring out how to do that with better microphones and whatever. And our sound person, Josh, is back. That was with us all last year. He says he knows how to make the music work, so he and Jules will be working on that. And when we feel a little better about it, we're going to try it again. But we wanted to let you know we knew it was bad, so no problem about that. Another thing before we get started that I'd like to speak to you about is I got an article from my daughter, and it was about ambiguous grief and loss. And it was long, and truthfully, I never read long articles. I read this one, and it was pretty long, and I actually meant to ask Jules to print it out for me today, but we'll do it next week. It's really important that all of you understand for yourself and for your family and your friends and your co-workers that there is a lot going on within people, that there's a grieving, and the grieving and the loss is not per se for somebody who has made their transition and left. The grieving is for what's going on now. It's grieving for our whole community to be here. It's grieving for going out to dinner. It's grieving for missing your friends. It's grieving for what we knew. Because what is happening to a lot of us, including myself, is I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. I don't know where this is going, this pandemic and all of the other things that are toppling in on top of it. So what this article is saying is it says allow yourself to feel. And this is not a new message that I shared with you before, but it's not beating yourself up because you're depressed or you're lethargic, or you don't want to move, or you're just like, I don't care anymore. Allow yourself to feel that feeling and to be with it and stay with it and just think about it. But don't get in a state where you can't do anything about it. And then, of course, the normal things are take a walk and do something that whatever you like, whatever your habits used to be, how you can put those into things a little bit better so that you're not alone. Zoom calling or just calling your friend and saying, open a bottle of wine, open a bottle of wine. Yeah, Tom, I'm talking about wine again. Open a bottle of wine and open a bottle of wine and let's toast. How about let's make a cake together and, and talk to each other. But in other words, try to do what you can to lift your spirits up. Like I'm sure like with Pam, every time a new butterfly is born, that's got to be something so beautiful, and she gives it a name, and we see it on Facebook and we share with her that joy. And Tom's got his garden going and he brings it and he shares the produce with us. So try to do little things that just lift your spirits, but understand you're not alone. You're not alone in this, what the hell's going on? You're not alone in that. We're all in that. So just to have comfort in that it's ambiguous loss. For those of you with computers, look it up. It's really, really interesting. And it's important. And one of our congregants I knew was struggling with some things, and I sent that article to that person, and that person told me that it's changed their whole life, and they're actually getting some counseling now based on reading that and understanding that it wasn't just this person that was going through this, but it was that a lot of us are going through it. So I really wanted to share that with you and let you know that we are all in this together. And As you know, you can call me anytime and talk to me too, or you can call Annie, prayer chaplain, or Martin, prayer chaplain, or you can come to prayer circle, or put in prayers in the prayer request box in the prayer circle. We'll be praying for you. In prayer circle, we pray for you for a whole month, and then we send them to Unity, Worldwide Ministries, and Silent Unity, and then they pray for you for another whole month. So be sure that you're aware of that. That's 60 days of people out there that are caring about you. So I wanted to share that with you. So welcome, turn off your cell phones, and no texting during the service. And so here, our vision, a spiritual community of love, peace, and acceptance. Do you feel that here? You feel that? Yeah? Just shaking your heads, yeah? Okay. And our mission, creating an exclusive spiritual community through fellowship, service, and community outreach. And in speaking of community outreach, I don't know if you're aware, but when we tithe, we are a tithing center, and we tithe 10% of our income out, and 5% of that goes to Silent Unity, and then 5% of that the next month goes to Unity Worldwide Ministry. But the other 5% always goes out into Sheboygan, into the community, through either the food bank or the Salvation Army or our regional Unity group. It's called Great Lakes Region. Sometimes we do Safe Harbor, sometimes we do Habitat. So be aware that when we say community outreach, that we are actually doing that for the community. So I wanted to share that with you. And then I'd like to ask Tom Kloiber if he would come up this morning and read the daily word for us, right? Light the Christ candle and do flames of faith with me.
Thank you, Reverend Lynn. The daily word for today is appreciation. I'm grateful for the good in my life. Today I take time to appreciate the abundance that surrounds me. I notice the beauty of the natural world, the talent and dedication behind the music and art I enjoy, and the skill and commitment of the people who work to maintain a safe and orderly world. The more I focus my attention on everything I have to appreciate in my life, the more I notice even more blessings. I am eager to share the gift of appreciation, so I give my full attention to someone I care about as we share a meal or a favorite activity, or simply a quiet moment together. Feeling grateful for my life's blessings, I feel renewed appreciation for the love and beauty that enriches my life. And from Luke 10:23, then turning to his disciples, Jesus said to them privately, "Blessed are the eyes that see what you see." I light the Christ candle today as a remembrance for us that light is always shining within us, that aspect of divinity that we have the privilege to express.
And as we talk about inclusiveness, we incorporate the flames of faith, and we perform this ceremony to promote the universal consciousness of life, which acknowledges that all people, all faiths, all sentient beings come from the one great universal presence, which we call spirit. Fundamental to this truth is the unifying nature of all religious thought and experience, which we honor here today. So as Tom lights the first candle, we light this candle for the Tao, honoring the universal path of harmony, equilibrium, the natural way. We light a candle for the shamanic traditions, honoring the beliefs and practices of all indigenous people, the way of primal spirituality. We light a candle for Hinduism, honoring the path of knowledge, action, and devotion. We light the next candle for Judaism, honoring the ethical path of living by sacred law. We light a candle for all forms of Buddhism, honoring the Four Noble Truths and the path of compassion. We light a candle for all forms of Christianity, honoring the Christ consciousness and the path of love. We light a candle for Islam, honoring the path of submission to the will of God and the highest calling. We light a candle for the universalistic religion of Baha'i, of submission to the will of God and the highest calling, and we just honoring the path of unity and peace along with that. We light a candle for all forms of new thought, honoring the metaphysical path of mental healing through the practice of universal spiritual principles. And the last candle that we light a candle for all of those who are as yet unaware of the power and presence of spirit in their lives and the space that we're holding for them at this center and for all religions unnamed at this ceremony. And thank you, Tom. So today, we're going to speak about mediocrity and moving that into greatness. And the greatest enemy to greatness is good enough. How many of you have said, it's good enough? Anybody? Yeah. So about 6 weeks ago, I read this statement, so I jotted down a note, good talk title, Turning Mediocrity into Greatness. And so I've been thinking about it and everything that I do, and I try to apply it to my life in little drips and drabs here and there. And so besides the obvious, that perhaps we do not strive to do things above and beyond, to walk that extra mile, I kept thinking about how we think about ourselves. We go, I'm average, I'm a good enough person. Anybody feel, I'm a good enough person. Yeah, I'm average, I'm okay. Yeah, Joe, okay. But what we forget in that is that many do not know that you're born into greatness. You're not born into mediocrity. And that generates your true destiny when you can honor that greatness that you're born into. So let me be clear about something here. Striving for greatness, rising above your current thoughts and situation is not the same as wanting to be perfect. I am not speaking about perfection. Perfection is actually a lack of confidence and an insecurity. So it's really important that I have these papers in the right order and not backwards, which they are right now. So it's just go 9, 8, 7. Then I keep laughing. 6, 5, 4, 3, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Okay, so we're going to do this again. Thank you. Stop talking about yourselves right now. Okay. So, anyhow, so what I'm actually speaking about is that hidden potential that lives within our very souls. And that potential, that infinite possibility, that is what you're born with. So most people think of greatness as extraordinary. The thing of the champions, the breakfast of champions, Wheaties. You know how old I am. But to be a champion is simply doing the ordinary, extraordinary well. We think, well, I'm not extraordinary like all of these, players and these philosophers and actors and actresses. You don't have to be like those people. All you have to do is whatever you do it with a level of commitment. The ordinary things to be done extraordinary well. And that's the difference. So I read somewhere this week about how we like to complicate things rather than look for quick and easy solutions. We could think about Congress in there, but we're not going there. But quick and easy solutions. So let's think about Einstein's theory of relativity. Okay, you go, oh my God, right? I can't go there. So Einstein's theory of relativity is very complicated. Yet here are Einstein's comments on how simple it is. So you spend an hour with a new love and time flies. Is that true for those of you who can remember back there? So time flew, right? We're so in love. On the other hand, you spend an hour with someone you do not like, and time is endless. That's relativity. Does that make sense? So we think, I can't do Einstein's theory of relativity. Well, that's what it is. Reducing things down to the simple, the simplistic. So to be a champion then is to realize how great you are and just consider finding new ways to reduce the complicated things in your life to the simple. You know, one of the things that you heard me say when we were saying goodbye to Renee was that she won't let anyone help her. And we talked about that. We went out to dinner last Sunday night and we talked about that. And she said it's because when it's so overwhelming, so all of you have moved at some point in your life, when it's so overwhelming, what she has to do is go, okay, what can I just do right now and block all the other stuff out? So she goes to the simple solution, goes to the simple, all I can do is one thing at a time. What can I do right now that's going to move me forward to get this whole, whatever I have to do, done? So that made a lot of sense to me. Now, of course, me, I'm the other kind. It's like, please come help me, dear God. So, but it depends on the way that your mind works. You know, it just depends on the way that your mind works. So C.W. Ceram, a Roman archaeologist, wrote this. Listen to this. Genius is the ability to reduce the complicated to simple. Genius is the ability to reduce the complicated to simple. So what we can say about Renee is that genius. She's a genius. And this room is filled with geniuses. You know, because we can all do this. We can all take this crazy thing, whatever it is in your life, and reduce it down to a common denominator and reduce it down from the complicated to the simple. Does that make sense? Make sense? Okay. So mental clarity then is the cornerstone of everything that we do. One of the things that we all deal with, including myself, is monkey mind, right? Or, you know, trying to multitask. Multitask is not good for us. It's really bad. And so the monkey mind is, so when I walk from my bedroom to the kitchen to get one thing, I start doing something in the kitchen and I forget what I'm doing in the bedroom. And then I have to go back to the bedroom and go, you know, I really should finish what I was doing there. So to stop that complication, to stop that confusion, it's all breathe, finish loading the dishwasher, period. That's it, nothing else. And once you can get yourself to that place of where you're focusing on one thing at a time, you're eradicating all of the confusion in your life. So mental clarity then is the cornerstone of everything we do. And that's where this teaching comes into play. We all know that we are connected to this universal intelligence out there, universal mind, God. We all know that. But we forget. I forget. We forget that when we just take that step back and remember that there's an intelligence that's guiding us, then we don't have to be in this confusion. And we all know that there's only one mind, or we want to say there's only one spirit, or there's only one God, and that mind is the one mind living in and through us. It doesn't live out there in Never Never Land, in La La Land. It lives within us. So as we accept this concept and become masters then of our own thoughts, there's no way we can fail at anything in life. No way. Simplicity then becomes a way of life for us. Well, think about affirmative prayer. That's the mainstay of New Thought teaching. We don't beg God. We don't say, dear God, please, please, give me, give me, give me. We say, God, and I know this to be the truth. And, and when new people come into this New Thought teaching, they get all confused because they say, oh my God, I have to learn how to pray. Well, of course you don't, really. You don't have to learn how to pray. You can do that. But affirmative prayer is simply talking to God. That's all it is. So you talk to God and you go, well, does God answer? So Saturday I was journaling, and I was journaling. Friday I had some conversation with some people, and good, serious and honest conversation, back and forth, and blah, blah, blah. The story and the conversation not important. So I was journaling about that on Saturday morning, and I was talking to God. I usually write, dear God, or dear Holy Mother, or dear Spirit, depending on my mood. And I was talking to God, and you think, well, does God answer you? So after I was doing journaling, so then I picked up my, okay, God, what do I have to know today? So you say, how does God answer you? So I pick up this book. So I am talking in my journaling about, it was about you guys in community and how we co-create together what goes on here. So listen to this. Day 166, my life is made new today. That's what God wanted me to know. The answers are always there. And it says, today I stand for radical change. I was journaling about that. Within myself and with my life, the future is reprogrammable. Your future right here, this moment, is reprogrammable. And nothing needs to happen except that the free flow of love in your life. And that's all. To open up, to expand. Like if you could see, those jaws of life, the claws of life, when they go for open up cars and they take this thing and they go like this and like this and like this and like this, the jaws of life. Think about that with your heart. Just opening and opening and opening and opening. So this whole article was about, I affirm with my whole heart that it's you, that's all I need. May my mind and body and attitudes reflect an alchemy of miraculous power in all I do. So we talk to God, and through something, a song, a phone call, a billboard, something, God answers. God answers. God didn't say, okay, Aubrey, this is what I want you to know today. But I said, God, what do I need to know today? And I got an answer. And that's all we have to do. Take the complicated and bring it down to simplicity. So we don't have to try to be better than anybody else or better at anything else. We don't need flowing adjectives. You've heard me say that before. God is not impressed with flowing adjectives. Like my one person, Michelle Wadley, God love her, in the New Jersey church. And our classes were over at 9:30 at night. So at 9:30 at night, we're all working women. We want to go home. And if it was Michelle's turn to do closing prayer, and at first you're in prayer, right? You're in prayer and you're like, and then one by one, eyes opening, and we're like, oh no, she doesn't shut up, we're gonna kill her, because she loved flowing adjectives. So let's take a look for a minute though at prayer. So prayer, recognition, God is all there is. God is all there is. To unify with that, I'm one with God. God is all there is, I'm one with God. Declaration, I know this to be true. I affirm this, I demand this, I see this. See, you're just affirming, affirming, affirming. Thanksgiving, thank you, God, you release, I let it go, I release it out to the universal, blah, 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 and it is done. So when I had my church and our kids and youth church, so this was the prayer for the little ones. God is, I am, I know this is true, thanks God, over and out. That's the simplest, and that's what the little ones would do. And they loved it. They loved it. It was fun. So reducing then to the simplest possible explanation with every challenge that arrives in our lives. You can find a simple solution and perhaps go to affirmative prayer and do nothing more than state the truth. Just state the truth. Clarity. I know this will be done. And sometimes the simplest thing to do is nothing. And that's what I was speaking about earlier about ambiguous loss or grief. Sometimes just sit with it. The simplest thing is to do nothing. So in the Tao Te Ching, it's written, can you remain unmoving until the right action arises by itself? Sometimes you just have to sit with it. You just have to sit with whatever it is until the answer comes in whatever form it comes to you. Sometimes you just have to leave yourself alone. Common sense, right? If it's so big you can't figure out, the choice then is a choice to do nothing. And that choice is okay. Does that make sense? That choice is okay to do nothing. So common sense then comes into this. It's another gift we've been giving to guide the greatness in our lives. If we listen to that still voice, the one that nags us to turn around and go right instead of left, that's common sense. And it's simple. It's as simple as looking at things from an outsider, stepping back 5,000 feet, go back and back and back. Harriet Beecher, who wrote Uncle Tom's Cabin, said, common sense is the knack of seeing things as they are and doing things as they ought to be done. Does that make sense? Common sense is the knack of seeing things as they are. This is what's going on right now. What needs to be done? Doing things as they ought to be done. Common sense is nothing more than wisdom. And sometimes we just have to step way back and view things from the top. And I know I've told you this story before, but remember the story of the couple who were visiting New York and they were terrified of it and they were looking all around and they hated the place and they were nervous and they were a wreck. But their very experienced tour guide took them to the top of a tall building, and he showed them the city from a different view, from a broader view. And the couple got so excited that they were able to see that, and then they were able to get rid of their fear. So sometimes we have to either step back or go to a tall mountain. Would that be going to higher consciousness? Higher consciousness, higher self, that's what we would be doing. And that's what the parable is in that story, to go to that higher consciousness. We have the ability to go to the top. We have it. We can go straight to principle, straight to God, straight to first cause. When we fear and doubt, then we reduce us to less of who we are. We have to go to the top. Because we're not mediocre people, we're great people. And we get stuck, we're just being good enough. Average. I'm just an average person. I'm no big deal. You're a big deal. You're a great person. You're a big deal. You know, Renee gave me a thing once that said a great person sits here. I think it's down in the boardroom now. And I put it away because I thought that was so arrogant or obnoxious. I said, I can't have that sitting on my desk. I'm a great person. See what we do? So we put it down in the boardroom. I put it down. But to see what we do to ourselves, I can't have that in my office, and I can have what people think. Why do we do that? Why do they do that? So every time you guys in the board go down there and count the money, just know that I gave that to you. So We have to be able to deliver ourselves from sickness and trouble to the exact proportion to the discovery of who we are and our relationship to the whole of everything, hidden away in the inner nature of man. This is the law of life. This is what we teach. This is what we're about. So how many of you have ever been working on a project at home or at work or exercising, and you just stop and say, good enough, done.
Oh, yeah.
I'm done with it. I have. But after reading this statement that good enough is the enemy to greatness, do you agree with me on that? Good enough is the enemy of greatness. I realize how many times I've cheated myself, and you've cheated yourself from walking that extra mile to push and to reach for something greater than you are. Whoa. Whoa. Reach for something greater than you are. The greatest discovery that man ever made was that he could think. That's the greatest discovery in the whole world. So the power of one thought is the greatest thing in the whole world. So if you want to go that extra mile, what is that one thought that will take you from here, good enough, to over here to the greatness of what you're doing? The greatest discovery ever made after man could think was that there was power in his thought. Do you agree that thoughts have power? Right? Of course we do. That's what we teach in this teaching. But on this then hinges our entire evolution. Remember, we spoke about that last week. Involution, God's involved. Evolution is the effect, cause and effect. Everything is cause and effect. So I never want to say I'm good enough again, but I still won't bring that thing up. But I want to be all I can be and keep growing and keep evolving and into greatness. And we're not less than people. We're great people, and we forget our greatness. We forget our greatness. Sometimes I work with my prayer partner, and we'll be talking about stuff in here and stuff. And I'll say, Aubrey, Lynn, do you realize what you've achieved in 2.5 years? And then he'll list things that have happened here, and I'll go, oh, okay. And he goes, why do you do that? And my friend Lynn, who died in New York, every time Jeopardy was on, and I would get one, I went, oh, I got one. And she goes, why do you do that? You're smart. Why do you think just because? I know, but I got one. Did you ever do that with Jeopardy? Oh, yeah. I got one, yeah. Why do we do that to ourselves? We're great people. Even when I'm home alone, I can still do it. Anyhow, so
I wanted to date you.
yeah, but I can never be on that show. I'm not that smart. See?
Yeah.
I didn't say that, though.
The book club that I'm in with a whole group of Leanne's friends, she got me, and Marianne Helm is in that book club. These women are brilliant. And we're reading this book now that I absolutely can't stand called There, There. And it has 4 pages of accolades about how great this book is. And I think, what is wrong with me? I don't let this book at all. And anyhow, so. We're great. I'm great. You're great. The world is great. And let's just take a deep breath and settle in. And let's go to prayer and meditation. So I want to ask you, what's your good enough meter? On a scale of 1 to 10, what's your good enough meter? So think of greatness, think of spirit, and how does your good enough meter change? Does it rise? And I ask you, can you see greatness written in bold letters across the doorway of your consciousness? Where's your good enough meter now? Knowing greatness, knowing genius, knowing that we all have the ability to go to the top. Go there now. Go to the top of your consciousness. And look out and see the absolute, infinite possibilities of greatness before you. Realize that even now, there's so many choices. And as you look at the choices for the rest of your life, for the next week, month, year, rest of your life, this is the day to commit. Commit to, however small or large, a choice you make. You never settle for mediocrity, but settle for greatness. And in doing that, know with me right here and right now that it's simple and it's easy. Because as we move forward, we choose one path, one step, one idea at a time. Faith is what we need to believe. See yourself having faith in all you embark on. See yourself sailing on a sea of boundlessness and livingness of greatness. Have faith in yourself. Have faith in all of humanity. Have faith in life. And have faith in God. walk that extra mile from good enough to greatness. It doesn't matter if anyone's looking, you know when you have not walked that extra mile. Commit this day not to cheat yourself of the greatness and the genius that you are. And know that your good enough meter is at a 10. And when you're ready, and when you're at peace, slowly, gently, come back to this environment, or whatever environment you are in. Welcome back. Well, for those of you that haven't been here for a while, we are not taking a collection. We just have the offertory basket in the back, and you can put your love donations in that as you come in or as you leave, whatever you're comfortable with. And for those of you that are out in live streaming land, again, as always, we thank you for all of the money that comes in through PayPal, through the mail, and sometimes you just stick it in the mailbox, and that's okay with us. So thank you so much for us. And would you just repeat with me our offertory prayer? The love of God inspires me to give in the spirit of generosity. I give with love and joy to ensure the growth of this ministry and this unity center. And so it is. Thank you, God. Okay. And you know, I was thinking today, and actually no I wasn't, it was yesterday, about some of you that are not, do not have internet. So I was going to ask you if you would like us to mail Great Happenings with you, and Jules is going, oh God, another thing to do. But if you would like us to mail Great Happenings to you, let Jules know, write her a note. Just don't think she can remember everything, because neither one of us can. But because I think you might be missing things and you don't know what's going on. I know that I had dinner with Susan Kelton last night. Oh my God, 18 months she prayed for this place. She never lost faith. She held so tight to the vision. She had a picture of it on her wall where she was living in a basement apartment with no kitchen, just a refrigerator and electric frying pan. God love her. And she got her place after 18 months, and she was so thrilled. But she knew nothing about what was going on here because she doesn't have internet, and that's where I got the idea that. So if you would like that mailed out to you, let us know, and we'd love to do that, right, Jules?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Thank you, sweetheart. Okay, thank you to our volunteers today, Tom, Tina Barthel, she's certainly not here, Dave Pauly, and Josh and Jules. Of course, without you, we could not get any of this done, so thank you so very much, and claps for And okay, silent auction, third round of silent auction. Again, you guys amaze me. You bought everything in the first 2 rounds, so we're at the 3rd round. So you've got 2 weeks to sign up, put your bids in, and then we will update you every other day to where the bids are at, and then we'll get from there. Okay, Unity Women's Circle of Friends is next Saturday, and because of the virus, breakfast will not be served. Plan on having fun and some unexpected conversation, that's for sure. So that is with Diane Polly, the Women's Circle of Friends. Book club will begin in September. Again, I'm not sure when I have to leave to go do the final burial of my friend's ashes in September, so I will start a book club when I get back from that, whenever I go, which I'm going to figure out tomorrow. Okay. Again, volunteers needed to do platform position. You've seen what it is, and it's simple and easy, and it's a very important part of this Sunday service. So if you'd like to do that, let us know, because the more that volunteer, then the volunteers can do it once a month, every 6 weeks, once every 3 weeks. So join us on that team. And I've already told all of you who I think should be doing it, so you've already signed up anyhow. Okay, so I believe that that is all that we have today, and we're going to stop here. So I want to say thank you to everyone that's here. Thank you to all of you that are out there live streaming with us. And if you have any questions, any comments, send them in to me, and I will get back to you probably within 24 hours. So I will commit to that. Okay, bye. See you next Sunday. Love you all. God be with you.